What's going on, everybody? J-Hal here. In this video, we're going to talk about a Heroes of the Storm Jaina build that is built around Icefury Wand and auto-attacking. If you've ever watched my stream, you know that I've flamed this build for who knows how long. But they buffed it, and they buffed it again, and they kept buffing it until it's finally good. This video is going to go over all the things that you need to know, which includes chilling targets so that you can slow them down and then get that value out of Icefury Wand. Which brings me to my sponsor of this video, the coldest water bottle. That's right, that's the name, that's the brand. Why? Because it keeps things cold with the insulated lid and the nice grip on this. I love this. I actually, I drink a lot of water everywhere I go. I live by it religiously. And so now this is my new favorite water bottle. Check out the links in the description below. But for now, we're going to get into the build that we went over on stream so that you can understand all the talent picks and the ways to play it to make auto attack Jaina work for you. Still think the default Jaina build is good, but I want to talk about auto attack Jaina. So we're going to go through the talents and how you play it, because it's very particular with how you play it. And I'm going to go through a couple of things on level 1 to kind of help you for the rest of the talents to understand how everything works. So for level 1 with Jaina, I actually really like Lingering Chill. Now keep in mind that Jaina fits into the standard. I have no mobility and I have auto attack range at 5.5. Therefore making her a little weird because she doesn't have increased auto attack range and she has no mobility in case bad things happen. The only thing she can do is blow you up or CC you. You do get Ice Block later down the road. But Lingering Chill does two things here. One, it means that you're applying chill longer. And when you consider that basic attacks against chilled enemy heroes, the entire talent that this is built around, does more damage, but more importantly lowers the cooldown of Blizzard, this is important to have the extra 2 seconds because you're going to cycle through your abilities. When you look at Frostbolt, it's 4 seconds. So if you're hitting this every 4 seconds, and then you're keeping the chill applied, but that's not always a guarantee. Cone of Cold, long cooldown. Blizzard, even longer cooldown. So unless you're relying on your Q to keep your frost damage up, I think it's there. But the other part is the mana retention and cooldown reduction are pretty significant. It doesn't mean you have to rely on your Q, which means you can now save your Q for more of a burst style, which we'll talk about later, because there is a burst that you can still go with. I do really like Fingers of Frost still, because it's kind of hard to argue this. You gather regen globes to get mana regen, which is nice. But the thing about this is you actually don't need the mana regen. You're getting enough mana back through your level 4. This gives you 10% damage from Frostbite. The damage from Frostbite is increased by 10%, which means your bonus damage against chilled targets. So you do get more burst damage by way of this, but I do like the extra duration. If you've ever been slowed by Jaina, it's pretty miserable when you're slowed for 4 seconds and then 6 seconds. I like Lingering Chill because you need to practice auto attacking. Pretend you hit somebody with your E or your W, even clipping them and then hitting your Q. You can be much more liberal with your W. I would still recommend following up your tank for using your W because it is still a long cooldown, but you can be much more liberal with it. Fingers of Frost, okay. And the reason I say you don't need Fingers of Frost is the same thing I talk about with Arcane Intellect. While above 75% mana, you get 10% spell power. This is actually really strong. The big part about this, dealing damage to a chilled target returns mana to Jaina. Basic attacks return 5 mana and abilities return 20, which means that you aren't really having many issues. So when you can keep them chilled longer, you press Q, you just stand there and you auto attack them for 6 seconds at 1 per second. You're talking 6 auto attacks. So you get 6 auto attacks out. You're getting 30 mana. Your base mana pool, for those wondering, is 500. It goes up every level, not by a ton. But this allows you to keep your passive up much more often to get that extra spell power. So when you do pull the trigger to pop, pop, pop with your talents, it's really good. But because this works on anything. This does not work just against heroes. This works against anything. So if you're clearing camps, if you're clearing an objective, all of these things do add up. So you do get that mana return back. It just has to be a chilled target. So this won't work against targets that can't be chilled. Frost armor, I would recommend only if you're going against like an Illidan style. But even then, you're probably just in trouble. Just don't go Arcane Intellect because evasion doesn't count. But you're probably just in trouble, okay? Now here's the big one. Icefury Wand is what this is built around. Basic attacks against chilled enemies deal 50% more damage. So if I can permanently keep chill up or pretty close to it, I'm doing a lot more auto attack damage. And as a Jaina, you don't really think about auto attack damage as Jaina, and I'll show you why very quickly. You just have to be comfortable with auto attacking and then understanding who you're auto attacking. Let's say level 7. My auto attack damage is a measly 79, okay? 79 auto attack damage. So if I do 50% more damage, we're talking about 120 roughly, you know, like just short of that, like 119.5 or something like that. So what is 120 auto attack damage, and why is that important? 120 auto attack damage, I'll show you here in just a second. 120 auto attack damage is pretty similar. Now, mind you, Raynor just got reworked. This is post Raynor rework. It's pretty similar. Now, mind you, you can also get Inspire for Raynor and give him some pepper. But why is it important? Because at level 7, you have 129. So you're just shy of a standard regular auto attacker while also having the single highest burst damage in the game. Okay, so prior to the rework, I believe you were on par with Raynor to the recent buff. So getting that type of consistent damage, you've now turned yourself into an auto attack hero purely by accident, while also simultaneously having the single highest single target blow up damage in the game. Now here's the big part. It lowers the cooldown of Blizzard. Now this is the part that they've buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed. So there's a lot of you like, see, I knew this was always good. And in reality, it was bad. And then they buffed it. And it was still bad, Texas. And then all of a sudden, it reached this threshold of like, wait a minute, this might actually be good because they gave it 2 elements. You lower the cooldown of Blizzard by hitting non-heroes, which is cool because now all of a sudden you can do camps more efficiently. You can even take this to Battlefield of Eternity, which I still wouldn't recommend. But it's doubled against enemy heroes, meaning that you could blow a lot of people up. That's why I said you can be more liberal, but you need to keep an eye on what type of tank do you have and what type of CC do they have, and have they used it. If I'm playing with an ETC who's slid, boom, I want to be able to hit that. And then when I throw Blizzard down, my ETC will press W and the world is good again, okay? Looking at you, ETC players. But if he's already slid and there's nothing going on and I'm still getting cooldown reduction, I'll cycle this again. We're talking 2.5 second cooldown. This is a 15-second ability. It is a long cooldown. So having that damage, I will be more liberal with it. Just hitting somebody with it continues to apply the chill. It reapplies it, which means I can auto. Because of that, it's okay. And this is the one time where I'm like, maybe you should do this. Instead of using a Blizzard on a minion wave, let's say you're on Dragonshire and it's bot lane. Instead of using the Blizzard on a minion wave and there's nobody nearby, but you're looking to get your Blizzard back to attack and fight on the point, press Q onto one of the minions. It doesn't do a ton of damage. They're not already chilled, so you don't get the bonus damage. So it's only 184 damage baseline. Q the minion. Make sure it's not one that's being auto-attacked already by your ranged minions. And then start auto-attacking that minion. This is a 4-second cooldown. Use this to proc your level 7 on a minion. 4-second cooldown, you're not missing this. It's great for your combo, but I'm not going to use my 15 and 10-second cooldown on a minion wave because one, they'll be dead, and now I have nothing to cooldown off of, and it's going to be a long time before I have that, and I might not have that Blizzard now for that fight. So there's some tricks you can do to use this on minions or non-heroes when there are no heroes available, but they're nearby. It's not always easy to just walk up and auto-attack a chilled hero. So keep that in mind when you consider playing with Icefury Wand, is that there are different ways to manufacture cooldown. So when you're in the game and you're on a camp or you're on an objective or you're somewhere nearby, but you need to save those big hitting abilities like Blizzard that does a ton of damage, like Cone of Cold that does a ton of damage. Keep that in mind on how you want to get your cooldown reduction to make that work, okay? That's the most important part of auto attack Jaina, is knowing when and how to get cooldown reduction without sacrificing your cooldown reduction just by throwing stuff out there, and then all of a sudden you don't have cooldown reduction, therefore you don't have abilities, and then you're bad in a fight. You'll know when you're bad in a fight because you don't have your abilities. And if you don't think you're bad in a fight because you don't have your abilities, because I was clearing a wave, it means you did it wrong. All right, level 10, Ring of Frost, Water Elemental, same as any other build. Water Elemental, infinitely better by a mile. By a mile. Ring of Frost is so bad. It works in a coordinated environment. It works with certain tanks who are going to taunt and or do things that are consistent with keeping somebody in place, but it's really bad. Please stop picking this. Summon Water Elemental is good, and it's good for multiple reasons. Most importantly, the level 16. Also, your trait for finishing your passive, so you can get that. But this is fantastic. It deals damage. It's a nuisance in the game. It lasts for 20 seconds. If it doesn't die. So it means you have a 40-second downtime if this is up. It's also a 60-second cooldown, so you'll have it for every single fight, 100%. So you can be very liberal with this in a fight. It's also great. It applies chills, which means it applies, your bonus damage from your frostbite. So you can tag somebody with this. They're slowed, hit them with your abilities, and then at level 16, you'll be able to root them, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, I know what you're saying. Level 7. If I can cast Blizzard all the time, then why wouldn't I go Stormfront? Bigger Blizzard and more range. Now, there's two things about this. One, it's bad. Okay, don't pick this, even though it's tempting. Two, if I increase the range of my Blizzard, now think about this. If I'm increasing the range of my Blizzard, I have two options on how to use this. I'm doing it because I want to poke from really far away. And let's address that. If I poke from really far away, I can't auto attack from the range that I'm casting Blizzard from. Therefore, if I Blizzard somebody, I'm no longer able to hit them with my E, and I can't auto attack them, which means that none of my abilities are hitting other than that. Two, I'm using this to hit the back line, and therefore I still can't do anything else with my abilities because I can't auto attack them. I can't follow up and kill them. And so you have to be very deliberate with where you use your Blizzard. And using this for the sheer purpose of damage, the radius is nice, sure. But most people that you're hitting with this, with the extra range are there, they're probably walking out of it. If you're not able to keep people in place to hit them with at least 2 waves, then it means that you're not using your 16 appropriately, which the difference between 13 and 16 doesn't take that long to get there. And it means that you're not following up CC. So therefore, you're using something because you're using it as a crutch, and it's actually a really bad crutch. So you have two good options. Icy Veins, still the go-to, 100%, 99% pick rate. Ice Barrier, only if you're going against a heavy dive team, and you know that you have to save yourself. This might even be good in Quick Match, but we'll focus on Storm League. Icy Veins is absolutely ridiculous. You talk about the single highest blow-up character. If I'm pressing R, the odds of me pressing 1 or 2 at this point with Icy Veins is probably pretty high. So I'm going to get my elemental out. We're going to blow up some stuff, and it's going to die really fast because I'm blasting people, okay? Icy Veins, insane. Get used. There's a lot of activatables that people shy away from because it's another button to press. This is absolutely one that you should learn to pick. 16. There is but one here. And again, Snowstorm sounds great. Well, if I got bigger radius, then it's going to be easier to hit them a second time. What if? Because nobody ever hits the third wave unless they're really bad and it's a mosh pit. The second wave of Blizzard is increased by 50%. What if I could guarantee that second wave no matter what? Plus all my other buttons. I can do that with Numbing Blast. How? There's 2 ways that you can do this. I can Q somebody and then E them, or as I hit my shin, use my water elemental to hit my initial target. Heck, I could technically hit 2 targets. And if Cone of Cold roots chilled targets, and I have increased chill duration, it means that I can be even more aggressive with this. Now, waiting on this isn't necessary. Don't be like the ETC is waiting for a 5-man mosh that never gets it. It's okay to kill 1 person. And as a Jaina, it's really easy to do. So I can press my water alley, they're slowed. Boom, E, I'm good. I can press Q, boom, they're slowed. E, I can press Q on one, R on another. They're near each other, I E both. Or I can W first, technically, because I want to wait. WE, because I know I'm going to root them. So Blizzard's already on the way down. I E them. They're rooted. Blizzard hits. Second Blizzard hits as well. Just try and put that Blizzard to where it falls down a little bit further in their retreat path. And there's your guaranteed second hit of Blizzard. You now have chill applied. You have your E that's rooting them that also does more damage because they already have frostbite on them. And your Blizzard is now guaranteed 2 hits. And if your team can't follow up on that, or you can't do like 70% of their damage, then something's wrong. That is a boatload of damage. It's a very easy combo to set up. And I know there's some of you out there, well, if I can do that, why don't I use Ring of Frost? Don't think about it. Unless you're really, really, really good. And even then, it's not good because then you don't have your water Ellie to help. And so you have to root 2 people and press R, which technically you could root them again, and then you could hit all 3 blizzards, but that's much more high level. Let's focus on the easier parts. Don't go Snowstorm. Don't go Stormfront. They're really memey, and this is more than enough damage. It's CC where you're rooting them for 1 second. You're guaranteeing the procs of your Frostbite by guaranteeing you're hitting multiple abilities with them. Level 20. So Winter Mute is by far the better pick. And there are some considerations for Deep Chill because it stacks a second time, meaning that you now have 40% slow, which is kind of ridiculous to have a 40% slow for 6 seconds. I wouldn't recommend that because Winter Mute increases the cast range of Water Ellie. You can stop somebody from retreating. You can track them down. Once they're slowed, now you can catch up to them and root them. And the Water Elemental will now mimic Jaina's basic abilities for 50% damage. Remember that combo at 16 I was talking about where you get the Water Ellie out, you slow them down, you root them, and then you unleash all fury on top of them? Guess what? Now all of a sudden your Winter Mute is now helping do the same thing, and it makes it really easy to blow people up. Jaina has the highest burst damage. She's incredible. The fact that you can set up your own CC, don't need the tanks, just do it on your own if you have to. But Jaina does so much damage. She gives up a lot in terms of mobility and survivability by way of damage. She has no movement speed abilities. She has Ice Block only after you've completed something, and that's it. So she has a ton of damage. She has a lot of CC, but she doesn't have any way to survive. Ice Blink is a way to do that. This is a rare. If you've been getting railroaded the whole game and you decided to go, if you did go Ring of Frost, you definitely go Blink, by the way. If you went Ring of Frost, you don't go Cold Snap. It's definitely not good, okay? Like you might catch somebody off guard one time, but that's it. It's not worth it. So go Blink if you went Ring of Frost. But Winter Mute is insane. Ton of damage. The way you combo people. And so for that, auto attack Jaina, I think, is legitimate. I think Jaina is out of the meta mostly because she doesn't have mobility. And all the tanks right now feel really oppressive, like they can walk up. And so if you are in a coordinated environment, Jaina's good. If you're a really good individual mechanical player, she's good. But if you are going to play auto attack Jaina, you have to learn to auto attack. You have to learn how to manufacture cooldown reduction at 7. You have to not pick Mimi 13s and 16 talents. Then you have to go out and you got to blast people. So that's Jaina, auto attack Jaina. I never thought I'd say these words, but I actually think it's good. I would say check back with me if there's any changes down the road. But right now, it's been this way, and I actually think she's okay. It's just that lack of mobility and the extremely long time it takes her to get Ice Block makes it tough. I hope that maybe Ice Block gets buffed, and then maybe we get some Jaina plays. And that's it. So that's Jaina. And I wouldn't use her on too many maps, but at the same time, if it's an open area and you can control stuff, or if it's a closed area like Dragonshire, I really like her. Maps with wave clear like Tomb and Chokes are really good. Wide open maps like Sky Temple are really hard. Because anybody can flank you and they can just walk out of your stuff at any angle on an Alterac. That is lightning, and that is my cue. This video is over, and I'm out of here.